tonight and still give me praise because what they went through, it created hypertension in others. It created dementia in others. It created Alzheimer's in others. It established all kind of infirmities and cancers in every form, but they're still getting up every morning after all the hell they've been through, saying, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Jesus. No, you don't have all that you prayed for. God help me, you don't have all that you asked for. No, all your prayers have not been answered. God help me, but can you thank me that I didn't let the devil take it all? Can you thank me that there's still a napkin, that there's still a face cloth, that there's still some evidence there that I should have been dead and sleeping in my grave, but some way, somehow, a miracle happened and he made a way out of no way. The truth of the matter is we should always shout because we saw a miracle. We ought to shout because of the evidence that's still left. I've been through hell, but I can still dance. I've gone through trouble, but I still got my faith. I've gone through heartache, but I still feel like giving him glory. You took everything that I had, but God left me with my faith. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for what's left. I find value in not the relationships that I lost, but the relationships that I still have. I find value, God help me here, not in the things that I possessed, but I find value in the fact that after my humiliation, because I'm here to tell you, if you've been called, you're going to be humiliated. And if you've been called, you're going to go through some tests. And if you've been called, you're going to go through some struggles. So all of y'all that's in your feelings, I'm here to tell you, shake yourself loose, because after you've been tried in the fire, you coming for. I wish I had some folk that are in here that's sitting on a road that's getting ready to come forth. It's not just you that's getting ready to come forth, but everybody on your road is getting ready to come forth. When you just look up and down your road and say, neighbor, if you don't believe it, then you're sitting on the wrong road, because I decree that everything sitting on this road is getting ready to come forth. Your leaf shall not wither. Whatever you do shall prosper. You shall be the head and not the tail, above and not beneath, the lender and not the borrower. I'm going to make you blessed in the city, blessed in the field, blessed when you come, blessed when you know everything on this road is getting ready to come. John believes, Peter does not believe. Can I tell you something? In every story, we have to have a good and bad. But what if I told you God loved the good and the bad the same way? What a theological perspective. Maybe you don't have to be perfect for God to still love you. Maybe you don't have to always get it right for God to have his hand on your life. Maybe you don't always have to have the approval and affirmation of people who don't even understand your purpose and don't even understand your assignment. Maybe you don't always have to be the one that looks like you got it all in order. Sometimes you can just barely make it to church. Sometimes you could have your back up against the wall. Sometimes you could feel like you're getting ready to lose it all, and still God's hand is on your life. Peter and John. One believed, one didn't. But we don't talk about Peter. We talk about Thomas. And so it is. We misunderstand Thomas because from my perspective, we would say that Thomas did not believe. And then therefore, Jesus didn't have any room for him. That's not what the text is teaching me tonight. That's not what the text is teaching me. What the text is teaching me on tonight is that the disciples came to Peter, came to Thomas and said, we saw him. And Peter said, I know you saw him, but except I see him, Except I see the nail print in his hands. Except I see the hole in his side. I'm translating. Then I will not believe. He's not saying from what I read that he doesn't believe Jesus got up. He's saying he doesn't believe the report from the disciples. So his issue is not with Jesus. His issue is with the disciples. Because these disciples are trying to tell Thomas a truth that they have not lived. Because when Jesus went on the cross, they were nowhere to be found. Peter said, I go a fishing. Nobody could find where Peter was. Peter lied. He cussed. He said, I don't know him. His lifestyle was horrible. And then all of a sudden, Peter is trying to convince Thomas that he's telling the truth. And that's what the world is saying to the church. That's what the world is saying to the Church of God in Christ. They're saying, I don't have a problem with your God. I don't have a problem with your Jesus. I just can't believe you because you don't look like him. You don't talk like him. You don't walk like him. You don't live like him. So Thomas's problem is not, from my perspective, with Jesus. His challenge is with his disciples. That's it. And I just came by here tonight just to let somebody know that God will still hear your prayer. Thomas asked a question, and the disciples' lifestyle won't allow them to answer. And my question is tonight, how many of you in this room? Reason why you can't seem to get an answer is because you got the wrong folk trying to answer for Jesus. The reason why you can't seem to find your way through is because we got the wrong folks trying to interpret Jesus. And so it is in John the 20th chapter that eventually Jesus shows up. And when Jesus shows up in John the 20th chapter, watch this, when he reveals himself to the disciples, they don't ask him for the nail prints in his hand. They don't ask him about the piercing in his side. But the text says that Jesus still shows them the nail print in his hand. And he still shows them the piercing in his side. But when he shows up to Thomas, he tells Thomas, now I know what you asked for. He said, now I'm going to show you what you asked for. I'm going to show you the nail prints in my hand. And I'm going to show you the piercing in my side. Show them the same thing. One asked, one didn't. Just keep back to tell somebody that showed up in this room. God said, if you ask me, he said, I don't care what folks say, I won't do. God said to tell the church tonight, he said, if you ask me, I'll save your children. He said, if you ask me, I'll heal your body. He said, if you ask me, I'll put money in your pocket. He said, if you ask me, I'll blow your church up. He said, if you ask me, I'll shift your spiritual warfare. He said, if you ask me, I'll do exceeding and abundantly above all that you ask or think. Every pocket is a close. There's some folk in this room, you've been asking God to do some stuff for you since January of 2023. And the Holy Ghost told me to tell you tonight that you live to the 6th month because the 6th month brings you to the second half of the same year. And before I close, close this year out. God said, I'm going to do what you asked me to do. And because you didn't quit, and because you didn't throw in the towel, and you brought your tears to Jesus, He told me to remind you that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. He told me to remind you, and He said, whatever you ask in my name, He said, I'm going to do it. Will you point it to people and say, neighbor, neighbor? God, help me here. Say, neighbor, neighbor. Say, whatever you ask God for, God said He's getting ready to do. In spite of your mistakes, in spite of your fear, in spite of your doubt, in spite of your shortcomings, God said, I'm still going to do it. In spite of the folks that said it'll never happen, in spite of the folks that said you weren't good enough, God said, I'm still going to do it. Sometimes you got to learn how to encourage yourself in the Lord. And you got to tell yourself, God's going to do it. Restore my joy, renew my mind, heal my body, restore my faith, give me new vision, give me new passion, give me new dreams, give me new goals. God is getting ready to give me what I have not seen and ears have not heard. It's not over. It's not over. I'm not finished. God's got more for me to do. Because He's going to do what I asked Him to do. Say it again. God is going to do what I asked Him to do. So as I leave here, I'm pressing on the upward way. New heights I'm gaining every day. Still praying I'm upward bound. Lord, at my feet on higher ground. I sense in the Holy Ghost that you're getting ready to testify. Won't He do it? Won't He make a way? Won't He do it? Won't He answer prayer? Won't He do it? Won't He anoint my soul? Won't He do it? Won't He renew my faith? Won't He do it? Won't He give me joy? Joy unspeakable, full of glory, from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet. I do decree and I declare, this is my season for answer prayer. I come against the hindering spirit and I release the flow of answer prayer in my ministry, in my auxiliary, in my church, in my district, in my body, in my money. God is supernaturally sending an anointing into my spirit that's getting ready to bless my life because He loved me. Living, He loved me. Dying, He saved me. Buried, He carried my sins all away. Rising, He justified, freed me forever.